Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping right into something really key for all of us: how we talk to each other, how we connect. We're using some fascinating insights like distilled wisdom from real world experiences, really focusing on how to speak wisely. Think about it, those conversations, maybe with people you really care about, that just go off the rails. We've all been there, right? Talking past each other. And our source material really lays out these two contrasting paths. One is, constant arguments, quarrels, feeling like what you say just doesn't land, doesn't have any weight, and ends up feeling draining, stressful. But then the flip side, imagine people actually listening, because what you say is, well, rational. It makes sense. Even if you're direct, people don't get upset, and you find you're kind of liked wherever you go. You build good connections.
Yeah, and the choice between those two paths is really stark, isn't it? Even a child could see which one's better. And that second scenario, the positive one, it comes directly from communicating wisely, intentionally. So, what we're going to do in this deep dive is unpack some really practical, easy to apply strategies. These are pulled straight from the experiences in the material you gave us. It's not just about the words, it's about how you set up the conversation for success.
Exactly. So our mission today is to pull out these specific, powerful tips, these sort of secrets maybe, that you can use right away to make a difference. We're focusing on the core ideas right at the start of our sources. Okay, let's dig in. So this first big idea tackles a really common problem. We assume we know what someone else needs from us in a conversation. And the source offers this incredibly simple but powerful question to stop arguments before they even get going. It uses a super relatable situation, right? Imagine your partner or a friend comes to you upset. They might say something like, ugh, my skin is so irritated and itchy. I have no idea why. It's really stressed me out.
Okay.
Okay, now the typical, maybe unwise response, as the material calls it, we jump straight to fixing it. You might say, oh, you should check your cosmetics. I heard lots of people have reactions. You really need to look into that brand.
Right. Sounds logical on the surface.
Totally logical. But the sources show this often backfires.
Hmm.
It leads straight to defensiveness. The other person might snap back, no way, I spent a fortune on this stuff. It can't be that. It must be something else. And bam, suddenly you're arguing over irritated skin.
And the key insight there is why that happens. The person jumping in with advice, they didn't stop to figure out, did the other person just want someone to listen, to empathize, or were they actually looking for a solution right now?
That's such a common misstep.
It really is. One person's offering a fix when the other person just isn't ready for it or maybe didn't even want it. They needed to feel heard first, validated. And that's how these small things blow up into big arguments. We want a fix, but sometimes listening is the fix.
So what's the magic question? The one for people on your level, like friends, partners, family. The material gives us this simple phrase: do you want me to hear you, or do you need a solution?
It's pretty brilliant, actually. Psychologically, what you're doing is handing the control over to them.
Ah,
Yeah, people are way more open when they feel like they chose the direction. Maybe they just need to vent. Maybe they want advice. Sometimes they don't even know what they want until you ask.
makes sense.
So if they say listen, you just listen, really listen. If they say solution, okay, then you offer one. The source is very clear. This cuts down arguments dramatically because their role is defined by them. It's hard to argue with you if they set the terms right.
Right. They can't really complain about the help if they ask for it. Okay, but what about, say, your boss or someone clearly senior to you? You probably can't use that exact phrase, do you want me to listen or help? That might sound a bit off, condescending maybe.
Exactly. Tact is key there. For someone senior or maybe an elder in the family, you adapt. You're still listening attentively, but the phrasing changes. The source suggests something like, could I be of any help to you?
Okay, could I be of any help?
Yeah. It carries the same underlying question, do you need me to listen or act? But it does it with respect. It's an offer of support, not a demand for clarity.
Gotcha. And the material goes into this DOS scenario, which I found really interesting. It says if, after you ask that respectful question, your boss does give you a task, especially a tough one, that's not them picking on you. It's actually a sign of trust.
That's a key insight from someone who's been a boss themselves, according to the source. If they give you something hard, it means they believe you can handle it. Why would they set themselves up for failure by giving a critical task to someone they didn't trust?
That turns the usual thinking on its head, doesn't it? Most people would just see the difficult task.
Right. And this really poses a question for you, the listener. How do you view challenges? As burdens or as opportunities hidden in difficulty? The experiences shared really emphasize that stepping up for those tough tasks when your boss trusts you with them is often the direct path to promotions, to rewards. If you shy away from the hard stuff, you likely won't advance. Trust is the currency here. When bosses have good opportunities or rewards to give out, they go to the people they trust the most.
So just to recap those two phrasings for the same core idea. For equals, friends, partners, do you want me to listen to you or help you?
Mm-hmm.
And for superiors, elders, may I be of any assistance? Mastering that difference seems pretty crucial.
It really is. Adapting based on the relationship is key.
Okay, so that first strategy is all about tuning in, figuring out the need before you respond. But what if you do get that part right, and the conversation still goes sideways, still ends up in arguments, maybe shouting? We've all had those talks, right?
Right.
You start off okay, trying to be polite, but somehow it escalates. Anger, yelling, stuff you regret saying later. Often it's because someone feels interrupted, like they can't even get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're the one sitting there fuming because you keep getting cut off.
Mm-hmm. And the material we looked at points directly at interruptions as a major cause of arguments. It literally says, one person is talking with the interruption of the others. And what happens? Both sides end up talking at each other, not with each other. Nobody's really listening. You might get a bit of satisfaction from yelling, but nothing productive actually comes out of it. It's that feeling of disrespect, even if it wasn't intended, that just sparks the fire.
So the source offers another really simple tool, but this one is preventative. Something you say before you even start the potentially difficult conversation. It's basically setting a ground rule. Here's the template from the source. Okay, I have an idea so we can have a good conversation here and really respect each other. How about this? I'll listen to everything you have to say right to the end. Then when you're finished, it's my turn. And the same for you when I'm talking. You listen till I'm done. Agree.
It's such a clear, simple template.
It is.
And its power is in setting that expectation right up front. Mutual respect. Ensuring everyone feels heard. The source actually claims, maybe a bit optimistically, 100% agreement usually happens because you're prioritizing the other person's need to speak first.
That makes sense. It
Right.
sounds fair.
Totally. And then if later in the conversation someone does interrupt, you don't have to get angry. You just gently refer back. Hey, remember we agreed. Let me just finish this thought. It diffuses the situation.
Okay, but again, the boss question. Or maybe just someone who's, very senior or tends to dominate conversations. You probably can't just lay down the law with that template, can you?
Probably not quite so directly, no. Again, tact comes in. You still want to achieve the same outcome, being able to speak fully, but the phrasing needs refinement. You could try something like, excuse me, would it be okay if I just quickly finish this point? I think it might help us figure out the best way forward.
So frame it as being helpful to the task.
Exactly. Or, depending on the culture and your relationship, maybe something even softer, like, excuse me, may I just complete my thought? Acknowledging their position, but asking for the space. The goal is the same. Ensure your perspective, your wisdom gets heard properly so you can have a more complete discussion and hopefully reach a better outcome. It shows respect while still advocating for your input.
Makes sense. And the material really stresses that using this kind of approach consistently helps take the anger out of disagreements. It stops those interruptions that make people feel disrespected and unheard, which is often the root cause of the fury.
Precisely. It paves the way for actual listening.
So let's quickly recap the two big strategies we dug into today. First, that crucial question to clarify what someone needs. Listen or solution for peers. And the more formal, may I be of any assistance for superiors.
Right. Tuning into the need.
And second, setting that no interruption rule before a tough conversation starts, using that simple agreement template or adapting it respectfully for those in higher positions.
Yeah, these are really concrete tools, simple sentences actually, that the source suggests can genuinely block quarrels. They open the door to being heard, to building those better connections we talked about at the start.
So what does this mean for you listening?
It means you've got tools right now that you can try out today or tomorrow. Practical things to make your conversations less stressful and more productive.
And here's a final thought to leave you with, something the material hints at that we didn't fully explore. It mentions even deeper psychological stuff like specific conditions and even a 5-step framework for communication. Apparently, these can help you guide others not just to listen, but to happily accept your ideas. Imagine that getting people on board joyfully, not grudgingly. That's powerful.
Definitely something more to explore. But for now, we really encourage you. Try out these first two strategies, asking about intent, Setting the no interruption rule. See what happens. The sources strongly suggest you'll see a difference pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into talking wisely. Keep exploring, keep communicating.